Hey guys, and welcome to the latest edition of What is XETA Capital? As you can see on our YouTube page, I previously made a video called XETA Entry, What is XETA Capital Part 1. This was, as you can see, 8 months ago. And that, 8 months in crypto may as well be 8 years, to be completely honest with you. So as we've evolved quite a bit and improved things a lot, in my opinion, and I'll share that more with you as we go along, it seemed prudent to make an updated video, finally, something that's been on my to-do list for some time, and kind of share with you what is XETA, at least the token model of XETA Capital, and kind of get into it without focusing on things that are kind of sticking points and confusions like tokenomics, things like that that really, in my opinion, are nice to know, but they're not the 80-20. And the 80-20 rule is a rule that states that 20% of your actions equal 80% of your results. So we know the flip side of that is true, that 80% of what you do only gets you 20%. So you can use that in your work, in your study, and also in how you learn and how you share things with people. So I want to share just that 20% that gets you 80% of the way there, not getting into the weeds of things that are going to maybe cause any kind of confusion or more questions than answers. And this will just be really straight to the point. In this previous video that I did here, I tried to keep it short. 15 minutes is pretty short, actually. In doing so, I found that I was limited in what I could share because, I was trying to keep it 15 minutes or less. I'm not going to keep this video to any kind of time constraint just because I feel like it's important and necessary to explain certain things. If it happens to be 15 minutes, great, but it might be a little bit longer. So a couple of things first, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you've not done so, you can search XETA Capital on YouTube, but it'll be the most obvious one there, or youtube.com/@XETA Go ahead and follow our Twitter page if you've not done so. That's twitter.com/XETA Capital, or search @XETA Capital. We post updates on here, and everything happens typically to Discord first. Secondly, it will be announced on Twitter, and third and tertiary, it'll be on YouTube if it requires a video, if necessary. So you want to follow all these channels if you can. And of course, if you want to join our Discord, you will see it on our Twitter page right here. It says Linktree. This is just a whole bunch of different links. And you will see the Discord right here. You can click, and just kind of a lot of very quick and easy links there for your convenience. So let's get into what is XETA Capital, this token model that is. I'm going to show you some of my wallets. I'm going to kind of explain, just get right to the point. What is this? How does it work? And if you want to participate, how to do so. And let's get into it. Okay, so this is the homepage, XETAcapital.com. So what is XETA Capital? Well, you can read through this homepage if you want. There's a lot of fun stuff on here. Ethos stack, some numbers, some partners, just kind of a walkthrough here. You can go and read different things on the website if you want. I just kind of want to 80-20 this and break it down. What we are and what we do is in traditional finance, you'll see the word TradFi. It stands for traditional finance, just like DeFi stands for decentralized finance. You have sort of a dichotomy where you have traditional finance, certain investment vehicles, which are typically out of range for the vast majority of people, including myself. These would be things like private equity, high frequency trading, and so on. These are investment vehicles that if you walk into, not to pick on any sort of investment wealth fund management business like an Edward Jones or anybody that manages wealth for kind of like the average common person, if you were to ask them, hey, how do I get my money into a high frequency trading fund? They don't offer that. And the reason they don't offer the type of things is because at the volume that a lot of the investment wealth management funds and businesses operate at, the kind of money that you need is in the high 7, most likely mid to low 8-figure kind of money that you need to invest in a fund like that. Okay, so they're not going to take somebody that has $50,000 or even $100,000 because they operate at a volume to the degree where you need a high net worth in order to get involved in those type of things. As a matter of fact, to even be involved in something like private equity, you need to be an accredited investor in the United States at least, and other countries are different with that sort of rule. But those are not things that the average person has access to. Okay, so you have this other market called decentralized finance. It allows you to get involved in finance aspects, but on the blockchain, using blockchain technology and cryptocurrency as an on and off ramp. You have various platforms, you have staking, you have different other type of DeFi vehicles that exist, but nobody, or very few at least, I don't know of too many, have really merged both worlds effectively like we have. So what we've done is we said, okay, we can get access to high frequency trading and, private equity and things like this. And we have the ability to create a cryptocurrency around it. Okay, so since DeFi and cryptocurrency is a democratized system that is accessible to all, why not layer the traditional finance world with the decentralized finance world and call it a project named XETA Capital? And that's exactly what we do. So through the token, through something called zones, we're going to get into what this means, you get access to something that would typically be way out of range for the common person. I mean, if you have $10 million, $15, $20, $25 million, you have access to those type of tools like high frequency trading. If you don't, then you're likely not going to get access because of the funds required. So we operate more so on a volume basis. Now, a lot of institutions that offer these type of tools do not operate on a volume basis with customers, right? They have such large funds that they're not going to even talk to you unless you have 10, 12, $15 million. You wouldn't even have a conversation with them, right? So anyway, we are packaging that and bringing it to the common average person. And I don't say that in a bad way, because I fall into that category too, through the use of cryptocurrency and DeFi and blockchain technology. So let's get into what that actually means. So if you come to the website, you can click Financial Services, High Frequency, and you're going to get some information about what high frequency trading is. I recommend breaking this down, reading through it. I don't want to get too much into the weeds of what HFT is, although we're going to look at it just really briefly. You can read through this. It's essentially is comprised of a number of things, and those include having a signal service, having the trading strategies, having the computational power, and having the high-speed networks. Now, I did a video some time ago, and I'm going to see if I can find it on the fly here on our YouTube channel. It's going to be way back. Let's see if we can't find it. It's going to be showing the high-frequency trading past performance data right here. So this is also 8 months ago. It's still fairly relevant. It's called XETA Entry High Frequency Trading Report. Now you can look at past performance report, but you can also watch that, because I do briefly touch on a little bit more detail about high frequency trading and how it works. So feel free to go through this. It's still fairly relevant. At that time, it was previous past performance history data at that time, which is 8 months ago. So a little outdated, but the concept is still the same as it was then. So you could read about how that works. Kind of like if you're from the IT world, you know that when you build a network, you build a network sort of like in boxes. If you have a very large network, certain buildings have a separate network, certain departments might have separate networks, but they all connect back to the primary main network, right? And so high frequency trading is very much the same, where certain aspects of it are autonomous. You have signal services, trading strategies, the computer power, the networking, all that kind of stuff. Now, if you build this on an institutional level, it costs many, many millions to do. Of course, you can lease these type of strategies. You can lease all the equipment. You could lease signal services. You use a brokerage. So it's a lot of setup, and it's a lot of security. We haven't even talked about the security aspect of it, having to have trustees and multiple signers and signatories to ensure nobody can steal funds. It's a very large, laborious process, which is why the average person, when they try to set up, and you can read this online and different forums and things like that, where they try to set up HFT trading systems, they might do well, but they don't make the type of returns that large institutions will make, because they don't have the ability or the reach to have those trading strategies, to have access to that network power, and to have the signal services. Signal services are more like taking advantage of the opportunity and delivering that to the trading strategy, and the trading strategy is able to then trade very specifically based on that opportunity. But then you have to have the low latency network, you have to have ideally a brokerage for security and being able to utilize those strategies and manage funds in a secure manner. You have to have the computer power. It's a big deal, is really what I'm trying to say. So we have access to HFT in two different forms, pools and lakes. We'll get into both of those in a moment. Based on the amount of zones you have, determines the maximum monthly, yes, this is monthly cap for your lakes and your pools when they open up. We're going to get into all that in a moment. Pools compound, lakes do not. We'll also get into that as well. You can read through this, the different tiers that exists. I also recommend checking out our knowledge base. The knowledge base is going to be an excellent resource, and you can get there by going to kb.zetacapital.com. This will be added to the link section if you haven't seen it already. This is just a great location to read, and there's a lot of stuff in here. So this is not really 80-20, if I'm going to be honest. It can be 80-20 if you're looking only for something very specific, but if you start drilling down into here, you might, if you're new to the project, you might become a little overwhelmed. And that's why this video, I think, is very useful. But this is also a great resource if you want to read more. If you're more of a reader, what are pools? You can click this and it just pops right up like that. There's the different tiers. Just how do I access? Just a great resource for really quickly getting the information hopefully you need. Okay, so please check that out. But what is high frequency trading? How does it actually work? So you could do a Google search and any one of these links will be perfectly fine to read. These are all great. I'm going to look at the Investopedia. As a matter of fact, if you can even go on YouTube, and that might even be better. This was a great video. I did watch this one. It is pretty accurate, pretty basic, but good enough to understand. What is high frequency trading? Just do a quick research of this. I would recommend Google. I would recommend YouTube. Just kind of read what it is and how it works, just so you kind of understand what it is being offered, right? Now, it's not going to go into the complexities of it. It's just going to kind of brush over it in many instances. That's why that video that I'd recommended that I did previously 8 months ago, at this point, is a good one to watch as well, because I actually go over, not in super detail, but in detail enough to how the HFT systems are built, and so much to the degree where we have some community members that have been involved in building high frequency trading networks, and I kind of quote them. So that's actually a great resource, because these are people that were hands-on building them. They can tell you the complexities involved in such a system, especially good ones. You can have HFT systems, but it's kind of difference between having a great vehicle and a jalopy vehicle, right? So this is a great one, Investopedia. I'll just read this. High frequency trading, known as HFT, is a method of trading that uses powerful computer programs to transact a large number of orders in fractions of a second. It uses complex algorithms to analyze multiple markets and execute orders based on market conditions. Typically, the traders with the fastest execution speeds are more profitable than traders with slower execution speeds. So we trade the Forex market. The Forex market is a foreign exchange market. It's where you buy currencies, US dollar, yen, euro, pound, gold, etc., etc. There's multiple different currencies we do trade, and trades are able to be executed in fractions of a second. As it says, there's hedging to ensure you can get out of bad trades just as quickly, and strategies as well surrounding that. I'm really just glossing over it because there's a lot more to that than I'm saying, but just trying to gloss over and give you the kind of straight to the point answer. So typically, if you're going to get involved again with a fund like this, even if you have the money, so what's going to happen is if you had a high net worth and you went to a wealth management fund, they're not going to just dump all your money into a high frequency trade. It's not how wealth management works. They're going to take your funds, they're going to put it in bonds, and they're going to put it in high frequency trading, and then they'll put some in equities. They'll put some probably in potentially private equity. They're going to do a whole lot of things, right? So at the moment, we're offering a high frequency trading, but again, risk management becomes key. Risk management. You don't want to dump all your money into one thing. I don't recommend that. I don't think anybody would recommend that. So we have to exercise wisdom as well. But what we offer is that particular service with more to come in the future. And that's one of the, I want to say this in a proper way, but in crypto, we're always looking for sort of that quick return, right? But there also has to be patience involved. This is the type of traditional finance vehicle that a lot of people in crypto would look at and say, that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist in traditional finance. It only exists in DeFi to make 20, 30, 40, 50%, 60, 80%, whatever in a month. That doesn't exist. That's not possible. Well, it is possible. It happens every day. If you ask any floor trader, making 3, 4, 5% a day is not uncommon. It's not unheard of. So this is what we offer, and this is a service that is well outside the reach of the average person. If you were to try to get a good one, again, a really good one, let's go from there. So let's look at how this works. How does Zeta Capital work? How do you get access to this? What is a zone? How do you buy the token? How does all this kind of work? Let me break this down for you. So if we come back to the Zeta Capital website, we're going to click Launch App on the top. And once we do that, this is what's going to open. Now, this is my wallet. I happen to have one of my wallets, I should say. I happen to have 25 zones in this one. If you open this up, obviously you're going to see 0. You have to connect your wallet and sign in with MetaMask. We only support MetaMask at this time. MetaMask is a, if you are in crypto, you know this, but it's a Web3 interactive wallet. Allows you to interact with decentralized applications like this. So you see a few things on here. I won't belabor this a whole lot. You can go through a zone calculator if you want. What's a zone? What does it do? Well, it does a couple things. So let me click View Account Details to kind of get into more detail about this. So what is a zone? A zone is something that is built with Zeta tokens. So you buy and hold 10 Zeta tokens in your wallet. You then exchange that for something called a zone. It's just a made-up word. It's a made-up word that fits with the Zeta Capital brand. Okay, and when you build a zone, it lasts for 1 year. So it expires after a year. It earns you 0.1 Zeta tokens per day, and it requires fees. So it requires, at this moment of this recording, it requires $15 to build it, and it's $15 per month to maintain it. When you claim, each zone costs $5 to claim. Okay, so a little bit of claims, they go back to the company that gets into tokenomics. It's not all that important, but what it does is it earns you 0.1 Zeta per day for 365 days. Okay, now with enough zones, you get access to the services we discussed, high frequency trading. Just to kind of go over this dashboard just a little bit here. I happen to have 25 zones in this wallet. If you have more, you'll get page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, and so on. These just happen to fit on one page. And you can see when I built these. So we have the number. This is just a name. Don't pay attention. Zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. But we have expiration. So we see this expires on August 17, 2023. That means that I happen to build this one on August 17, 2022, because it lasts for 1 year. This particular zone, I can claim 0.508 Zeta right now. You'll notice as we're talking here, this is ticking up. My fees are due in 20 days. And we have 3 different types of zones on here. We have XPRE here at the top. If I had any XPRE zones, this little money sign right here would be orange. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. This would be orange right here. I don't have any XPRE. What that basically means is these were the people who purchased zones in the pre-sale. Right, so obviously once that year is up, you probably won't even see this little indicator up here anymore. So if you were not involved in the pre-sale, you just kind of ignore that. The second one, which is purple, is a friend zone. We'll get into that in a moment. It's a referral system where if you bring in people who use your referral link and they build at least 10 zones, you can build what's called a friend zone. That friend zone earns you a little less than a normal zone at 0.075 Zeta per day. As a matter of fact, on the website, if you want, going back to the website real quick, if you hover over resources and click friend zone, you can read more about that. I'm not going to get too much into that. Again, it's when you have zones in your wallet, you can give folks your link, and if they build 10, you can build 1 friend zone. It's just a way to reward people for bringing friends in and family and their loved ones. But that's what that is. So obviously down here is your normal, regular Zeta zone. Okay, so that's what I have, 25 of the normal regular ones, which is 0.1 per day. So in here, I could select different zones if I want. I can click the little radio button if I want to renew. So maybe I want to renew these zones. Then I can click renew. Or if I wanted to claim certain zones. So I want to claim the 0.5 on this the 0.5 on this and the 0.5 on this, then I can click claim. Of course, I can just renew all of them at one time if I click this, or claim everything that I have if I click this. You can see I have a total of 25 zones I would claim, and I can claim 12.7 Zeta. Okay, so I hope that helps. Now, getting back to the overarching dashboard, we have the Zeta value right here, just the price of the Zeta token. Down here is how many zones in total are built. We're a little over 24,000. It's awesome. This is, if you click this, an easy way to add the Zeta token to your wallet. Now, at the moment, as of the time of this video, the Zeta token is not traded on any DEX. Now, that may seem very strange. Like, what do you mean? How do you buy this? Not on a centralized exchange. It's not on a decentralized exchange. We did something where I'm pretty sure we are the first project to do. We have an OTC only system. So we implemented an OTC system, which stands for over the counter. What it is it's a system to where folks could list their Zeta tokens and others can come buy them. And we originally implemented this to reduce the volatility on the DEX. You know, there's front running bots that steal money all the time. There's volatility. You know, if somebody wanted to come in and buy $100,000 worth of zones, and this has happened already several times, that would spike the price significantly. And then, you know, you have all this price volatility. So we created an OTC system to allow people to exchange the token among themselves. Well, it became so well adopted that we said, you know what, why don't we just move to an OTC only system? We had issues with the two previous DEXs that we had. They couldn't live up to their wishes, and certainly couldn't keep up with what we were moving at a fast pace as a company. So since this was so well adopted, we decided let's just do an OTC only. So let me show you what that looks like. So if you were saying, hey, I want to build a zone, how do I do this? You would need USDT as of this moment. There was some issues in March of 2023, if you recall, with USDC depegging. So obviously we switched to USDT until we can let the USDC issues kind of, you know, play out. So, you know, if you're watching this video months from now, we might be back on USDC. Obviously, you know, make sure you check our blog. Go back to the primary website. Over resources, check news. I recommend you join our Discord. I recommend you join or follow us on Twitter. You'll know if we ever change to USDC, but this is just a good resource as well. If there is a major change, you will know about it in here. We'll post it within, you know, a couple days at the most. So this is also a great resource just to read, kind of like the evolution of the project when we released Blue Chip, and then we removed the Blue Chip service because it wasn't as sexy as you know, the high frequency trading. It's just kind of an interesting little historical background to the project. So anyway, you would need USDT on Avalanche. We are on the Avalanche blockchain. And then you would come into the OTC. So you can click Purchase Zeta up here, or click Buy and Sell Zeta here. I'm going to click Purchase Zeta up here. And this can take a minute or so to load if there's a lot of listings in here. If you have Zeta in your wallet, this is where you'd come and sell it. I don't have any Zeta at the moment to sell, but there's a whole video that goes over the OTC. I'm not going to go into detail on it, but just really briefly showing if you wanted to sell Zeta, you'd list it in here and show your listing and how many people have purchased it. The team does do regular buybacks, by the way, in the event that, you know, there's not a lot of buyers, but I will tell you we're averaging at the moment of this recording about $61,000 a day in buying volume. So it's actually fairly significant. You know, we have a couple of things that make OTC only work. And if you remove any one of these pillars, it fails. One of those pillars is the fact that we make money. I mean, the projects, and one of the main 80-20 differentiators of Zeta in general is the fact that we make money. We make money through utilizing the same investment vehicles that we offer you, like high frequency trading. You know, of course, in the portfolio of the fund, it has different things, it has investments in different projects, but for cash flow purposes, we also do high frequency trading as well. We make money that way. So we do come here and do regular buybacks to kind of also beef up the buying activity. So if you were looking to buy tokens, you can click any one of these, and this person's listing 6, this person's listing just under 6, 2, 6, 4, you can kind of just see what I mean here, 27 tokens. So you can buy these fractionally. So if I click on 10, I can buy 3. It'll say I don't have the balance, of course, but if you did, you can see that would be 190 USDT. So I can buy fractionalized of any one of these listings, but if I bought 10, I would have enough to build a zone. Okay, and that's how that version works. And then you would come in here and click create a zone. I don't have 10 tokens, so it won't pop up, but it would be a slider that would allow you to build and take the $15 USDT from your wallet as well. So if you have enough zones, you get access to the high frequency trading in two different forms, pools and lakes. So let me share what both of these mean and how they work. So if we click the top one, this is pools up here. Now at the moment, I'm going to show you my wallet and kind of what I'm doing in here just to give you an idea. So there's different tiers, and let me kind of share how this works. So this wallet has 25 zones, as you can see right here, 25 zones, right? Well, if we go back to the main website, I want to go back to high frequency. This is obviously on the knowledge base as well. Matter of fact, this is a great place to go and look. You can literally see what are the pool tiers, and this will be it right here. This is literally what I'm about to show you. So this is a little more straight to the point, but the website as well is a great place. So you can see here, if you have 10 to 24 zones, when pools are opened up, and they're not open 24/7, they do open on a fairly regular basis though, the pools that you go into will have a maximum cap of up to 10% per month in profit. If you have 20, and that's between 10 and 24 zones, if you have 25 to 49 zones in your wallet, paid up to date, and they have to be paid up to date. So if you fall behind in your fees, your monthly $15 fees, you need to pay that up to date. When pools open, you will see pools that have a maximum profit cap of up to 15% per month. 50 to 74, you have pools up to 20%. And finally, if you have 75 or more zones, you have pools that are max capped out at 25% per month. And that's up to, so it may not hit 25, it may hit 22, it may hit 23, but if it hits 25, that's your maximum cap. Whereas you have 20, 15, and 10 in the lower tiers as well. Now, just to focus on pools for a minute, the way that works, because we currently do have a pool open, so it's great for me to be able to show you this. Now, I have 25 zones in this wallet. You may be wondering, why does this say a 10% pool? Because the 15% pool filled, so it's gone. And when lower tiers don't fill within 2 days, it unlocks for the higher tiers. That's why I'm able to see this. So if I had, for example, some XETA tokens, and this is really the secret sauce to XETA, what I'm about to explain here, because this is something that no other project does. You notice a couple of things. First of all, the size of this pool is $25,000, and individual blocks of 100, there's always 100 blocks, are $250. This is valued in XETA tokens. Okay, now let me kind of share what I mean by that. So currently my rewards available is there. I don't have any XETA in my wallet, but I could claim my 12 that I have available from my zones. Okay, so I have, you can see 12.718 because I have 25 zones, and that's how much, so it's right here, receive rewards, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and that equals 12.718 XETA. So the value of that is that multiplied by this right here. Okay, so what is that? Yeah, I'm gonna open up a calculator. So we got 12.71 XETA, and the price is $63.58. So that's $800, 808 in value. Now, I can go in here and claim my XETA, or I could buy XETA on the open, not the open market, but on OTC. Then I can come into this pool and deposit my XETA tokens, and it gives me a USDT stablecoin position in the high frequency trading. The more zones you have, when pools unlock, you will see, obviously, the 15% pool is not open. So we only open pools when there's profit available to, because we're buying back your tokens, is essentially what's happening. We make money to the degree where we literally buy back your XETA tokens and give you a stablecoin position in the pools. I don't know of another project that does anything like this. So you come in here and say, I have $808 worth. And obviously if you had it in here, this would up here tell you you have 808 USDT worth. So based on the blocks, it's 250 blocks. So you purchase individual blocks. That would be enough to purchase 3 blocks of 750. I would come in here and type 3, and then I would hit buy, and you would see blocks owned right here, change to 3, and this would light up in orange. And when this entire pool fills, it gets sent off for trading. Let me show you what that looks like. So I've actually liquidated my positions. That's why you see 0 in profit here. I'll show you another wallet in a minute that actually has profit. I'm just kind of showing you because there's something else I want to show you about how to withdraw. And that's what I've done in this wallet. And that's why it says 0% and all that. So in this particular wallet, I have 3 pools. I'm in 2 15% pools and I'm in a 10% pool. Because, obviously at that point, nobody had filled the 10%, so it opened up to me and I went in. So this is a great example right here. So I have 4 blocks, and at that time it was $1,000 or $3,000, excuse me, for 4 blocks. And what will happen is, as time goes on, you will see the USDT tick up in profit. I'm going to show you a wallet right after this that does it. And you see your performance go up. Now this compounds automatically. Okay, so I'll explain that in my next wallet in just a second. What I've done in this is your principal, which is the initial Zeta you put in, your 4 blocks or 3 blocks, whatever you bought, is locked for 84 days. At that point, you can liquidate your position of your profits and your principal and fully remove yourself from this pool and pull everything. Or you can withdraw just your profit in 25, 50, 75, or 100% increments. And you would pull your profit, but leave your principal and it continues trading. Now, this compounds. So obviously, the longer you leave it, the greater your trading position and so on and so forth. You can see here there's 10 people in this pool. I have 4 blocks and so on. So what I've done here is I've liquidated all my pools. The reason is because I want to move up to a 20 and a 25%. So I decided, hey, I want to just withdraw everything. So what happens when you do that is your principal stays there, but your profits don't. And then what happens is at the very top, you will see your withdrawals that are pending. Now, when you get airdropped these, they will say complete. And you will get this in USDT. Okay, and that's exactly how the system works. So if I was to pull my profits instead of just the principal and the profits, it'd be the same thing. You would see that withdrawal pop up here and it would say pending. And when it's airdropped to your wallet, it would say complete. And that's how you actually claim your profits. So let me show you a wallet that's actually still trading so you can get an idea of what that looks like. Okay, here's my other wallet. So to give you a taste of what this looks like from a wallet that has 75 or more zones, that's what this is. This is a good perspective. You can see I still have access to that same 10% pool because it hasn't been filled and it was available to all the higher tiers 2 days after it opened. So that's the current pool that's open. Everybody can see right now. So you can see a couple of things. So this is what it looks like when you go into a pool that has closed but has not begun trading yet. It looks a little something like this. So you have your initial Zeta amount. This is measured in Zeta tokens. It was $5,000 worth. So when the first update comes, and these pools update every Friday at the close of trading, okay, and withdrawals open right after that update occurs. So Friday, there's an update that runs. It says, okay, here's your profits from the previous 7 days. And then once that update's finished, you will see these buttons unlock. And you can only withdraw over the weekend until before trading happens on Monday. So your initial principal is locked within 84 days. So 84 days later, you can come and liquidate your entire amount on a weekend after the Friday update before Monday. And you can also withdraw your profits. Now you can withdraw your profits 28 days after the pool starts trading. So this pool trades 28 days later, you can come in here and withdraw your profit on a weekend. And it takes up to 28 days to receive either of these, so full liquidation or profits. And the reason for that is it's airdropped within 28 days because of the fact that on the HFT side, positions have to be closed, hedges have to be taken off, it has to be converted back into crypto, it has to be manually reviewed for compliance reasons, and then airdrop. So it's a full 28 day, or at least up to 28 days. It can be shorter time frame to receive profits or full liquidation. Okay, it's another pool there, hasn't traded yet. Let me show you what some have traded so far, what it looks like. So you can see here, different. I am in 120% pool right here. So you can see, I don't know, let me zoom in a little bit. You can see right here how it says 20%. Okay, so because I'm at 75 plus zones, if the lower pools don't fill within 2 days, you get to see them. So this was just one that was available and decided to go into that. So you can see from this date, I'll just focus on a couple of these for a minute. Let's focus on these two here. This is a good one. So January 14th, 2023 and January 11th, 2023. Two different pools I'm in. These are 75 plus zone pools at 25% maximum per month cap. So you'll see on this one, I deposited a total of 8,250 XETA tokens. That has netted a profit so far of $6,005.73. Now what happens is, and you can read this in the knowledge base, do HFT pools compound? This will explain how that works. Click the wrong one there. You'll see an example of how this works. If you deposit into a pool, what happens is it takes your profits and adds it to the trading amount. So if you start with 8,250 and you make $100 profit in the first day, just as an example, it takes 100, adds it to the 8,250 and it trades with it. So it's compounding. Okay, so that's why it says right here, caution. When withdrawing your profit, please note that your withdrawals reduce your overall future compounded profit. So obviously the longer you leave this here, the greater trading position you have and the greater profit potential you have. Not financial advice or a guarantee, just an example of how the trading works on the back end. So you can see here, this is netted just under 73% since January 14th. And this one's netted 74% lower. And this is a January 11th pool. So because this compounds, you may say, well, that's greater than 25%. Well, yeah, the longer you would allow it to compound, your compounding ability does outpace your monthly cap. You know, that goes into compound interest. I don't want to get into that calculation, but this is just an example. So the primary benefit of a pool is that you do have the ability to choose when you want to withdraw, how much you want to withdraw, how long you want it to compound, that the fact that it does compound, and that you could fully liquidate at some point your principal. This is the cool thing. This is the secret sauce. You go in with XETA tokens, you come out with a stable coin. Inside of an institutional grade, high frequency trading fund that is normally well out of reach for people like us utilizing cryptocurrency. And the more zones you have, the higher pool access that you have access to. These were $100,000 pools. So that means we're buying $100,000 of your tokens back every time these pools are open. 91, as a matter of fact, I know up to this date, 99 pools have been opened. There's a 100th pool coming. It will be our 100th pool, which is just wild to see. So that's pools. What are lakes? How do lakes work? So I'm going to go back. This is, again, a different wallet I have that has, a lot more zones in it. So this is a great example. Let's click lake. What is lake? How does lake work? And how is lakes different than pools? They still go into the same high frequency trading fund, but it's a different avenue of getting there. It's sort of like taking the freeway versus maybe taking the surface street to get to the same location. It's kind of how the analogy I would use works. So when a lake is opened, a lake is a $500,000 buyback, and you can deposit into the lake a different way. So let me kind of explain how this works. So with pools, you have to have XETA tokens sitting in your wallet. What that means is you either need to claim your rewards. Remember, we talked about claiming your rewards. You either need to claim this and pay the claim fees, or you can buy XETA through the OTC, and then you can go in the pools. Lakes are a little different. You do not need, and actually you cannot go into lakes if the tokens are sitting in your wallet. It's only pending reward that you have not claimed yet. You can roll them over with no claim fee. Okay, so there's different strategies here. So if you're going to go claim your tokens to either build more zones or go into the pools, just know that now you've removed the ability for those to be rolled over into the lake. Okay, two different ways for accessing the same HFT fund. Now the difference between the lake and the pools is these are sunk costs, so you don't have the ability to say, I want to withdraw when I want to withdraw, or I want to go and pull my principal versus, and liquidate my entire position, or I want to withdraw 25% profits. You don't get that option. And the lakes do not compound like the pools do. So your pools, you have compound interest. The lakes, you do not. The way the lakes work is you can see right here, 100.4 tokens. If I click this little orange button, I can roll over all of my tokens right now that are valued at $6,383, excuse me. You have to have at least $100 worth to go into this. So if I put one token, you'll notice can't deposit because it's not $100 worth. So I could do two, for example. I could deposit that. And then it just basically removes my tokens from my pending rewards from my zone, rolls them over into the lake. And when this $500,000 lake fills, or the end of the month, whichever comes first, this goes into trading. Okay, now what happens is every month it just gets airdropped to your wallet based on the profits. You don't get the opportunity to go in there and say, I want to withdraw certain amounts, anything like that. This is more of an automated sort of step back and do nothing system. Easy peasy. And there's no fees attached to it as far as claiming your tokens. So the tokens are not in your wallet when you come in. These are pending. So if I were to go claim these 100 tokens and go into the pool, I would have 0 to be able to roll over into here, if that makes sense. So it's a different strategy. You save fees by rolling over into the lake, but you lose the principal. It's a sunk cost, and you don't have control over when you want to profit, and it doesn't compound, but it just is done automatically for you. Okay, so you can see I already received one airdrop. This is about $2,300 from lake number 1. You could see right here, this was a $500,000 lake. I rolled over $10,289.12 worth of XETA tokens. And the first airdrop was about $2,300. Okay, so the advantages to this, there's a couple of advantages. The tiers are basically the same, except there's 2 changes. The tiers to the pools and the tiers to the lakes. So the tiers to the lakes are essentially the same as the pools with 2 changes. There's a 1 through 9 tier, and there's a 100 tier. You can see that right here. So 1 through 9, you have a up to 6% monthly cap, and 100 zones you have up to 30% monthly cap. So you can obviously see in mine, I'm at the 30% cap right here, as long as I'm paid up to date. So let's say the $500,000 is filled, or the lake is closed because the end of the month, whichever comes first. What happens then? It then goes into trading for a full 30 days, okay? At that point, the withdrawal process commences. Now, remember when I said withdrawals take 28 days. So after the first lake closes, okay, or whatever lake you're in, it will take 60 days to get your first airdrop, and then it'll be every month after that, because it has to trade for a full month and then request a withdrawal, and then obviously it's every month after that. So a little bit of a waiting period, but this is the really cool thing. So if you are in lakes, if you are in pools, you have the ability to pay for your zone fees without even selling tokens. Matter of fact, you can profit in this system. This is not a guarantee of profits, read our disclaimers and disclosures, but you can profit in this system without ever selling a token. That's what makes this unique and makes XETA Capital unlike any other project, because I don't know of another project that makes money so much so that they're willing to buy back millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of tokens. I mean, right here, we already have 2 million, a little under 2 million committed in lakes. And then if you go and you look at pools, if I click current compounding pools, you can see all past pools. So like, remember when I said pool number 99, $100,000. If I just scroll down here, you'll see all the pools that have ever been opened in XETA ever since the inception of the high frequency trading service. I mean, look at all these. This is, too much to count at the moment, but a lot. I'll put it that way. Many, many millions. Okay. And there's been about 500,000, give or take, in withdrawals from the HFT so far. So again, you go in with XETA, you come out with a stable coin. That's what makes it real. That's what gives you a position in the high frequency trading. That's the financial instrument vehicle that is well within out of reach, I should say, of the average common person that we make available in XETA Capital through the use of zones. So I hope that makes sense. It's it's a unique system. So XETA really requires a video to explain it, and it requires a video where I'm not constrained by a short period of time, because again, this is something that doesn't exist. I don't know of another system that buys back their own token and gives you a position in something like this. Okay, you can see past performance, forecast performance, things like that. Just as a little side note, and this is something that I dropped in the Discord the other day, and I don't know if people know this, so I thought it's worth mentioning in this video. If you do come into this system and you are looking at the differences between pools and lakes, yes, you maintain your principal and control over withdrawals and compounding in the pools, and that is a benefit. However, you do have the potential for a higher return in the lakes. Let me explain why that is. So you see how we have a 30% tier. You are more likely to hit the top 30% maximum tier in lakes than you are hitting the 25% in the pools. Why is that? Because you don't have control over the principal. This is traded in the HFT different. So, when you have to allow people to maintain control over their principal, the way you trade is it's a little different. There's different hedges, there's different strategies that take place. And because this is just airdrops, we know exactly when the withdrawal's taking place. So the positions can remain open for a full month, as opposed to in the pools, you have to do more trading on like a weekly basis because people can withdraw really at any time. So there are benefits to both. And these are two avenues, I'm going to use the word, two pathways, two gateways, whatever analogy you want to use, to the HFT fund. It's just two different strategies, right? Rolling over with no fees and getting monthly airdrops versus claiming, having the tokens in your wallet, spending a little bit of money, potentially buying tokens, and on claim fees to go into pools when pools are available. And again, we only open up pools and lakes when there's profits to do so. So it's not like on an everyday basis, but it's on a pretty regular basis as well. So this is, again, utility that I always wanted. This is what I was looking for in the marketplace, and it didn't exist, right? Something like XETA does not exist anywhere else that I'm aware of. If it does, let me know. And so, I felt like this is something that we had to build ourselves, because when you make that kind of money and you have that kind of utility and you're offering that to people, it's frankly a game changer, and it's a world changer, quite frankly. And as a business, this is one model, what we call, XETA Blue at the moment, which is the token, the zones, all the stuff I just showed you. We're working on other products, XETA Black, XETA Gold, just different products to get access to the same thing for a different customer base. So we look at this and we run XETA like a real business. And that's the reason why we're IPOing, because, DeFi projects, crypto projects don't IPO, right? In many cases, they don't IPO because they don't make money. They don't have a utility. They don't have a differentiator really in the marketplace, aside from maybe tokenomics change, right? When you offer real utility and you have real assets under management and you make real money for real people, you can IPO, pass the SEC's requirements for IPOing, and be a real business. And I look at projects in crypto as projects when they should be being run like businesses, and XETA Capital is run like a business. I hope this explains a lot of how we work, what we do. It's worth mentioning, by the way, that until otherwise stated, this token price is going up 14 cents per day inside the OTC system, which also means 14 cents per day more for the pools and lakes. So it's one of those things you want to consider when to buy, if you're looking to buy, if you are looking to participate in this system. And I think this is a great explanation. I hope this helps. I hope this gives you sort of a starting point. Please, again, subscribe to the YouTube, follow the Twitter, join our Discord, interact with our community if you can. I think it's a great benefit. Join our live streams when we have them. We've just done, I've done a few live streams. These are very beneficial because I answer questions live, interact with you guys, kind of show you things, how this works, answer your questions, and just kind of hang out. I think it's important for a project and again, a real business to interact with their community and not just come in when it's convenient, but also be there when it's not always so personally convenient, because again, you're doing this for not just yourself, but also for the community and also for the business. You need to treat it as such and treat people with respect, which is what I believe in XETA Capital. So I hope this answers your questions. Please interact with us, join our Discord, and until next time, thanks for tuning in. God bless and take care. Thanks a lot.